on, let's go.
First off, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic isn't a particularly religious title, so if that was an issue, park it. And despite its franchise ties, it's not particularly an RPG either, and certainly not a strategy game. What we have here is a hodgepodge of many genres, with a fair spin of originality, set to deliver a very thoughtful experience.
Sarah, my faithful disciple.
Thrust in the role of Seraph, an orphan and student of the mage Fenrig, you must venture to the free city of Stonehelm in search of the mysterious Skull of Shadows, as a war with the vile necromancers looms not on the horizon, but at the castle gates. There's nothing really surprising here, well, except the lack of apostrophes and syllables in the characters' names. The story is typical trite, and what you'd expect to find in a $6.99 TOR paperback in the fantasy section of your local bookstore.
You have all that you need to achieve your destiny.
That is, it's the ultimate orc party. It may not be original, and is assuredly not fine literature, but it's got all the classic tropes you've come to expect from fantasy. There are rumors of dragons and banished demons, orc strongholds on stilts teetering off mountaintops. There's the obligatory plot twist that's so obvious you can figure it out before the tutorial is over, though it does involve some startling additions to the gameplay. It's comfortable material that's a bit played out, but with reason. It's done well, and people love this stuff, and if you're watching this review, some part of you probably does as well. Built on the Source engine, Dark Messiah is a very pretty Antichrist. If your system can handle it, the world of Ashen can be a very real place, and even an average system will get you a fine-looking world, filled with physics and the echoing clangs of steel on steel. Dark Messiah pulls from other springs of inspiration as well. Zara, your constant companion, somehow living in your head, may remind you of Halo's Cortana with a vicious streak.
This is a nice, quiet place. Oh, too bad we have other things to do.
The level structure feels like Metroid if each of the areas you explored self-destructed after you got a certain goal. If you happen to have played Chronicles of Riddick, you'll find Dark Messiah a close relative, sharing the same excellent blend of adventure, light role-playing elements, and first-person combat that's predominantly up close. You have goals in every area, some optional, some compulsory. Certain scenarios are very linear and heavily scripted, like the opening Arrival, where Seraph is knocked from his saddle and dragged to safety. Weaponless, he has to figure out how to deal with the worst type of Cyclops, an undead Cyclops. Most levels allow more exploration, more hidden items, and more combat, but can't be re-explored after the level is complete. The occasional boss leads to bouts of head-scratching, trying to figure out how to survive, let alone kill something so massive or magical. As you clear objectives, skill points are rewarded that allow customization of the character down certain archetypes: warrior, assassin, archer, and mage. What's great is that you can tailor Seraph to your liking. With the higher skills requiring more points to buy in, you can explore the other entry-level trees with a quick load. Mixing and matching is also allowed, so if you want to be an archer with fire magic, or a buffed-out warrior who can also sneak in a stealthy kill, so be it. There's also a surprisingly robust multiplayer option, if you're so inclined, but it's a little strange to play modes that are typically built for games with projectile weapons in a game that primarily focuses on up-close and personal conflict. The options certainly aren't lacking, though. They're the typical deathmatch and capture the flag options, in addition to some fairly in-depth modes like Crusade. Here you have to take control points and then hold them to gain other points. It's basically Unreal Tournament's domination mode, swapping out the futuristic look for a medieval one. The one caveat is that as you grasp victory in one map, you move on to the next one in search of total control of all areas. It's a unique twist, and with all the character classes accounted for, like medics and engineers, it's a nice bonus, provided you enjoy the combat from the single-player mode. Even with spells and arrows, the main melee is at sword's reach. A simple but satisfying system is implemented, with parries and a variety of power moves. It's very satisfying taking down enemies at such a proximity, especially if you can sneak a dirk into the jugular of an unsuspecting baddie. The level layouts are intelligent, dotted with hidden enclaves stuffed with healing potions and magical weapons. Even if there isn't an overwhelming amount of enemy types, whose AI can be relegated to the short bus variety at times, the good far outweighs the bad on implementation alone. There are other little splinters in an otherwise ambitious and very good game. Some spells and weapons have a tendency to obstruct your view of what you're trying to slay. When carrying a crate, it's reasonable, but lightning daggers and fireballs should help in the butchering, not obstruct it. The limited inventory can be a nightmare for players trying to wield and wear everything. Pack rats will have to dump stuff fairly often to make room for new gear, plot items, and oddly, spells. You can't sell anything, with no stores or economy, though some raw materials can be turned into superior weapons at various smithies around the game. While combat is challenging and often emergent, when you're out of immediate harm's way, there isn't much to test your mettle. Health potions are plentiful, and the healing spell is very low on the magic tree, making those health potions decorations early in the game. So while the heat of battle can be difficult, with ghouls clawing and spiders spitting poison, Sereth is only a hotkey away from salvation. It becomes a game of tactics and not a strategy, which keeps things flowing but dents the overall presentation of a cohesive epic. Marred by a few noticeable annoyances, what could have been a near-flawless excursion drops from excellent to above average. There's nothing here to stop anyone from getting through the quest, and what a fine, cliched quest it is. Toss in a multiplayer mode that's basically Unreal Tournament for fantasy fans, and Dark Messiah is a game that should be considered by anyone, sadly watching the number of PC game releases dwindle.